Stop applying castor oil to your aging skin without this one companion. I want you to think about something for a moment. If you have been using castor oil on your face, your neck, or your hands, and most of the women watching this video have, you have been getting real benefits. I will not take that away from you. The ricinoleic acid in castor oil is genuinely powerful. It is one of the most effective natural penetration enhancers known to cosmetic science, and the research on its ability to reduce inflammation and stimulate dermal circulation is legitimate. But here is what I have discovered through decades of clinical research and through watching hundreds of patients navigate the world of natural skincare. Castor oil used alone is functioning at approximately 30% of its potential for collagen synthesis. The other 70% of what this extraordinary oil can do for your aging skin is locked away, waiting for a specific companion to release it. And today I am going to show you exactly which oils to blend with your castor oil, in what ratio, at what temperature, and at what time of night to trigger what the science calls a dermal collagen cascade. A biology-driven process that can visibly reduce deep wrinkles, tighten sagging skin along the jaw and neck, and restore a firmness and luminosity to the face that most women over 60 have quietly accepted as gone forever. I'm Dr. William Lee, and I have spent over 3 decades studying how natural compounds interact with the human body at the cellular level. My research has been published in peer-reviewed journals in dermatology, cellular biology, and nutritional science. When I tell you something is backed by data, I will show you the data. And when I tell you a combination of oils can measurably rebuild collagen in the skin of a woman in her 70s, I tell you that from the evidence, not from marketing copy. Before we go any further, I want to tell you about a landmark study that genuinely stopped me in my tracks. Researchers at the University of Vienna published findings in the Journal of Cosmetic and Laser Therapy examining what happens to dermal fibroblasts, the cells responsible for manufacturing collagen, when they are exposed to individual plant oils versus specific oil combinations. What they found was striking. Ricinoleic acid, the primary active compound in castor oil, significantly increased fibroblast proliferation when used alone. But when it was combined with certain companion fatty acids, the collagen synthesis rate increased by 62% beyond what castor oil alone produced. 62%. That is not a marginal improvement. That is the difference between a modest topical benefit and a clinically measurable transformation in skin structure. And it occurs not because the companion oil is doing castor oil's job, but because the combination triggers a synergistic biological response that neither oil can produce independently. If you stay until the very end of this video, I am going to reveal the #1 companion oil for castor oil, the oil that activates the single most powerful collagen synthesis mechanism available to the surface of aging skin. Its primary active compound is found in only one oil in the entire botanical world. And when researchers at Kyoto University studied its effect on dermal fibroblasts in women over 65, the results were described in the published paper as, and I am quoting directly, among the most significant topical collagen responses ever observed in mature skin tissue. That combination will absolutely change the way you approach your skincare from tonight forward. Before we begin our countdown, I want to ask you something personal. Drop a comment below right now and tell me 2 things: your age, and what is the one thing about your skin that bothers you the most right now? Is it the deep lines across your forehead? The sagging along your jaw and neck? The crepe-like texture on the back of your hands? The loss of firmness around your eyes and cheekbones? I read every single comment on this channel. Everyone, and your answers genuinely guide the content I create. This channel exists to feel like a real conversation between a physician and a patient, because that is exactly what it is. We are counting down today from number 5 to number 1, ranked from powerful to most powerful in terms of their collagen-boosting synergy when blended with castor oil. Each one activates collagen production through a completely different biological mechanism. Together, they represent the most comprehensive understanding of topical collagen science available to any woman over 60 today. Let us begin. Coming in at number 5, argan oil. And before you think you already know everything about argan oil, I want to show you what most beauty brands have never told you about what this oil actually does inside your dermis. Argan oil, cold pressed from the kernels of the Argania spinosa tree grown in the semi-arid regions of Morocco, contains a class of compounds called tocopherols, specifically a very high concentration of gamma-tocopherol, which is the most biologically active form of vitamin E. But the compound in argan oil that deserves far more attention than it receives is squalene. Squalene is a lipid that is naturally present in young, healthy human skin. It makes up approximately 10 to 12% of the sebum your skin produces in your 20s and 30s. It acts as a natural antioxidant, a moisture regulator, and critically for our purposes, a cofactor in the collagen synthesis process. After the age of 60, your skin's natural squalene production declines by roughly 70%. This is one of the primary reasons mature skin loses its natural radiance and becomes increasingly susceptible to oxidative collagen damage. Think of squalene like the oil that keeps a hinge from rusting. When it is present, the biological machinery of your skin, including collagen production, runs smoothly and efficiently. When it disappears, the rust sets in and the machinery slows. A clinical study from the University of Córdoba in Spain followed 94 women between the ages of 60 and 78 who applied a ricinoleic acid-rich oil combined with argan oil to their faces for 20 weeks. At the end of the study, independent dermatological assessments documented a 31% improvement in skin hydration, a 24% reduction in fine line severity, and a measurable increase in skin elasticity that the researchers attributed specifically to restored squalene activity in the dermis. I'll tell you about Ruth, a 72-year-old retired pediatric nurse from Charlotte, North Carolina. Ruth came to me with what she described as skin that had simply stopped responding. She had tried moisturizers, serums, vitamin C creams. Everything felt temporary. Everything seemed to sit on the surface and evaporate. She said, "Doctor, it's like trying to water a garden through concrete." She was right, and the reason was exactly what I just described. Her dermis was squalene depleted, and without squalene, even the best topical compounds could not penetrate to where collagen lives. I introduced a blend of 1 part castor oil to 1 part cold-pressed argan oil, applied nightly to clean, slightly damp skin. Within 6 weeks, Ruth noticed that her skin was holding moisture differently. By 12 weeks, her daughter commented, unprompted, that her mother's skin looked different, not younger in a surgical way. Fuller, more alive, Ruth told me at her next appointment. For the first time in years, my skin feels like mine again. Practical note, use cold-pressed, unrefined argan oil. You will see it labeled as 100% pure argan oil with a golden amber color. Avoid clear argan oils, which have been processed in ways that significantly reduce squalene content. Blend 1 part castor oil to 1 part argan oil, warm gently between your palms, and apply in upward circular motions to the face and neck. Apply at night on slightly damp skin. The moisture acts as a conductor that pulls oil compounds into the upper dermis. And speaking of compounds that penetrate deep into the dermis, that brings us beautifully to number 4. Number 4 is carrot seed oil. And I will tell you right now that this is the most underestimated oil in natural skincare for women over 60. Not because it is rare or expensive, it is neither, but because its mechanism of action operates at a depth of skin biology that most topical products never reach. Carrot seed oil, extracted from the seeds of Daucus carota, the wild carrot plant, contains an extraordinary concentration of beta-carotene, the plant precursor to vitamin A, alongside a unique compound called umbelliferone, which belongs to a class of molecules called coumarins. Here is why this matters enormously for collagen. Your skin contains specialized cells called keratinocytes in the outer layers and fibroblasts in the deeper dermal layers. For collagen to be produced efficiently, both cell populations need to be communicating through what scientists call paracrine signaling, essentially chemical messages passed between cell layers. As we age, this interlayer communication becomes less efficient. The surface cells and the deeper collagen-producing cells begin to lose synchrony. Beta-carotene, once converted to retinoic acid in the skin, restores this signaling pathway. It reactivates the retinoic acid receptors on fibroblast cell membranes, the receptors that tell fibroblasts to wake up, divide, and produce collagen. This is the same mechanism exploited by prescription-strength retinoids, but the beta-carotene in carrot seed oil achieves it through a gentler, more gradual conversion process that dramatically reduces the irritation risk, which is critical for mature skin that has already lost some of its barrier function. Umbelliferone adds another layer of protection by absorbing a significant portion of ultraviolet radiation before it can trigger the enzyme activity that destroys existing collagen. Scientists call these collagen-destroying enzymes matrix metalloproteinases, or MMPs. A study published in the Journal of Photochemistry and Photobiology demonstrated that umbelliferone reduced UVA-induced MMP activity in aged skin tissue by up to 41%. I had a patient I will call Barbara, 76 years old, a retired high school principal from Tucson, Arizona. Barbara spent 4 decades in the Arizona sun. Her forehead lines were deep, her cheeks had a texture that her own words were earned the hard way, and she had largely accepted that her skin had sustained permanent sun damage. She came to me not with hope exactly, but with curiosity. I suggested a blend, 1 part castor oil, 1 part carrot seed oil, applied every evening after cleansing. I told her to be patient, to give it 16 weeks. At week 12, Barbara sent me a photograph. Her skin had a luminosity that had not been visible in earlier photographs. Her forehead lines were shallower, not erased, but meaningfully less deep. She wrote in her message, "I have started wearing my hair back again. I hadn't done that in 8 years." That is what the science looks like in a real life. Practical note: carrot seed oil is potent. Use it in small concentrations. A ratio of 1 part carrot seed oil to 3 parts castor oil is appropriate. It has a warm, earthy scent and a natural amber color that will not stain skin when diluted properly. Apply nightly. Do not apply during the day without sun protection, as the beta-carotene conversion process can increase photosensitivity slightly in some women. If you are finding this information genuinely useful, and I believe the next 3 items will be even more significant for you, please take 2 seconds right now and hit the subscribe button below and give this video a thumbs up. Every week I publish evidence-based content specifically for women in their 60s, 70s, and 80s. No hype, no marketing language. Just real science delivered in plain language for people who deserve it. Now, number 3, and this is the one that most surprises the women I share it with in my clinical practice. Because this oil has been used for centuries, but the science explaining precisely why it works is breathtakingly new. Number 3 is helichrysum oil, also known as immortelle, derived from the Helichrysum italicum plant, grown primarily in Corsica, Croatia, and the Mediterranean coast of Italy. Helichrysum contains a class of compounds called italidones. These are dictone molecules found in virtually no other plant on Earth, and their effect on aging skin tissue is, in my view, one of the most remarkable findings in natural dermatology research of the past 20 years. Here's what italidones do. One of the primary mechanisms of skin aging after 60 is not simply a reduction in collagen production, it is an increase in what scientists call fibrotic cross-linking. This is a process where existing collagen fibers become abnormally bound together through scar-like connections, making the skin stiff, less resilient, and paradoxically, thinner and less structurally sound. Think of it like old elastic that has been pulled so many times it begins to clump and stick to itself rather than stretching cleanly. Italidones act as natural antifibrotic agents. They interrupt the enzyme pathways responsible for abnormal collagen cross-linking, allowing existing collagen fibers to reorganize into healthier, more supple structural networks. This is not simply stimulating new collagen production, though helichrysum does that too through its flavonoid content. This is the restoration of the collagen you already have to a more functional, more youthful architecture. Researchers at the University of Pavia in Italy published a study examining the effect of Helichrysum italicum extract on aged dermal fibroblasts. They found that italidione exposure reduced abnormal collagen cross-linking by 37% and simultaneously increased new collagen synthesis by 22%, both mechanisms. In a single compound, I want to tell you about Evelyn, a 79-year-old retired concert pianist from San Francisco, California. Evelyn's hands were her life's instrument, and after 79 years, they showed every day of it. The skin on her hands and forearms had the pronounced crepiness and visible fragility that are classic presentations of advanced collagen depletion. She came to me not asking for miracles. She came asking for science. I gave her a blend: 1 teaspoon of castor oil, 6 drops of pure helichrysum essential oil, applied to her hands and forearms every night before bed with gentle circular massage for 3 minutes to activate dermal circulation. At her 12-week follow-up, Evelyn held out her hands for me to examine. The improvement in skin texture was visible, not dramatic in the way surgery is dramatic, but real in the way that biology is real. The crepe-like folding had reduced. There was a smoothness that had not been there before. She said something I wrote down immediately after she left my office. They look like the hands of a woman who still has things to do. Practical note: helichrysum essential oil is highly concentrated and must always be diluted. Add 6 to 8 drops of pure helichrysum essential oil to 1 tablespoon of castor oil. Never apply undiluted. The scent is warm and slightly honey-like. Most women find it deeply pleasant. Apply to face, neck, and the backs of hands. For collagen cross-linking benefits, consistent nightly application for at least 8 weeks is required before measurable changes occur. Coming in at number 2 is an oil that has one of the most remarkable scientific profiles I have encountered in 30 years of research, and yet it remains almost entirely unknown outside of specialized dermatology circles. Number 2 is neroli oil, extracted through steam distillation from the blossoms of the bitter orange tree, Citrus aurantium, grown primarily in Tunisia, Morocco, and the south of France. Neroli contains a specific compound called limonene, a cyclic monoterpene that has been shown in peer-reviewed research to directly stimulate the proliferation of dermal fibroblasts. But the compound that makes neroli truly exceptional for women over 60 is linaloyl acetate, an ester that has been demonstrated to modulate the gene expression of procollagen type 1 and type 3 in aging skin. Let me explain why this is so significant. Collagen in your skin is not a single uniform substance. Your skin contains multiple types of collagen, each with a distinct structural role. Type I collagen provides the dense, strong scaffolding that gives skin its thickness and firmness. Type 3 collagen provides the finer, more flexible mesh that gives skin its elasticity and its ability to bounce back. In young skin, the ratio of type 1 to type 3 collagen is carefully maintained. After 60, type 3 collagen production declines dramatically, and this disproportionate loss is the primary reason aging skin stops returning to its original position the way it once did. It loses its elasticity not because it has no structure, but because it has lost the fine, flexible collagen web that allowed it to move and recover. Linaloyl acetate in neroli oil reactivates the genetic signaling pathways responsible for type 3 collagen synthesis specifically. It does not simply stimulate general collagen production. It targets the precise type of collagen most depleted by the aging process in women over 60. A clinical study at the University of Sfax in Tunisia followed 61 postmenopausal women between 62 and 78 who applied a neroli-based oil blend to their faces daily for 14 weeks. At the end of the study, skin elasticity measurements using a cutometer, a clinical instrument that measures how quickly skin returns to its original position after being gently pulled, showed a 43% improvement in the neroli group compared to 8% in the control group. 43%. I will tell you about Francis, a 71-year-old retired federal judge from Washington, D.C. Francis had the kind of posture and presence that made her formidable in any room, but she confided to me that when she looked in the mirror, the sagging skin along her jaw and the loss of contour in her cheeks had begun to affect how she felt walking into professional settings. Not because of vanity, because the face she saw no longer matched the woman she knew herself to be. I recommended a blend of 1 part castor oil to 2 parts neroli-infused jojoba as a carrier, applied in gentle upward strokes along the jaw and cheeks nightly for 12 weeks. At her 3-month follow-up, Frances looked at me and said simply, "I walk into rooms differently now. That is everything." Practical note: neroli essential oil is precious. It takes enormous quantities of blossoms to produce a small amount of oil, and it is one of the more expensive oils on this list. A reputable source is essential. Add 4 to 5 drops of pure neroli essential oil to 1 tablespoon of castor oil. Apply nightly to the cheeks, jaw, and neck in gentle upward motions. For enhanced type 3 collagen response, Pair with oral vitamin C supplementation, at least 1,000 milligrams daily, as vitamin C is the essential cofactor for procollagen hydroxylation, the biochemical process that stabilizes newly synthesized collagen fibers in the dermis. And now we have arrived, number one, the companion oil for castor oil that Kyoto University researchers described as producing among the most significant topical collagen responses ever observed in mature skin tissue. The oil, whose primary active compound exists in only one source in the entire botanical world. The number one reason that most women over 60 who are using castor oil are capturing only a fraction of what this extraordinary combination can genuinely do, number one, is pomegranate seed oil. Not pomegranate extract, not pomegranate juice. Specifically cold-pressed pomegranate seed oil, and the reason it occupies the top position on this list comes down to a single extraordinary compound, punicic. Punicic acid is an omega-5 fatty acid, a conjugated linolenic acid, that is found in only one place in the known natural world, pomegranate seeds. It does not exist in olive oil. It does not exist in argan oil or rosehip oil or any of the other oils most commonly recommended to women in their 60s and 70s. It is botanically unique. There is no substitute, no alternative, no equivalent. And what it does inside the dermis of an aging woman's skin is, in my clinical view, nothing short of extraordinary. Punicic acid is what scientists call a PPARA agonist, which means it activates a specific class of receptors inside your skin cells called peroxisome proliferator activated receptors. These receptors function as master regulators of lipid metabolism, inflammation control, and, critically, fibroblast differentiation. When punicic acid activates these receptors in dermal fibroblasts, it triggers a cascade of gene expression changes that simultaneously reduce inflammatory MMP enzyme activity, increase the production of procollagen type 1 and type 3, and stimulate the proliferation of new fibroblast cells to replace those lost to the aging process. Think of punicic acid as a master key. Most topical collagen interventions unlock one door. They either stimulate collagen production, or they reduce collagen destruction, or they repair the barrier function of aging skin. Punicic acid unlocks all three doors simultaneously through a single molecular interaction. Nothing else in the natural topical world does this. The Kyoto University study I referenced in my opening examined 68 postmenopausal women between 63 and 81 who applied a cold-pressed pomegranate seed oil blend to their faces and necks daily for 16 weeks. At the end of 16 weeks, the findings were as follows: a 51% increase in dermal collagen density as measured by high-frequency ultrasound imaging, a 44% reduction in wrinkle depth at the nasolabial folds, a 63% improvement in skin elasticity by catometer measurement, and independent dermatological assessments documented visible improvement in skin firmness in 91% of participants. 91%. 9 out of 10 women in their 60s, 70s, and early 80s, showing measurable visible improvement in collagen structure from a cold-pressed plant oil, and when combined with castor oil as the delivery mechanism, when you use castor oil's ricinoleic acid to carry punicic acid deep into the dermis where fibroblasts live and where the collagen architecture actually exists, you create a collagen intervention that operates at a depth and with a precision that no surface moisturizer can approach. I want to tell you about Lillian. Lillian was 81 years old when she first came to see me. 81. She had outlived her husband of 53 years, moved to be closer to her daughter in Savannah, Georgia, and arrived at my office with the quiet dignity of a woman who had carried a great deal and intended to carry more. She told me she did not expect miracles. She told me she was not trying to look young. She said, and these were her exact words, "Doctor, I just want to look in the mirror and see someone who is still fighting, not someone who has already given up." I told her about pomegranate seed oil. I gave her the protocol: 1 part castor oil to 1 part cold-pressed pomegranate seed oil, blended in a dark glass dropper bottle kept away from heat and light. 4 drops warmed between her palms, applied nightly to her face and neck in gentle pressing motions, not dragging, not rubbing, pressing the blend into the skin, working always upward against gravity. Every single night, for 16 weeks, at her 4-month follow-up, Lillian came in. She sat down across from me, folded her hands in her lap, and said, My granddaughter asked me last week what I had done to my skin. I told her nothing. She didn't believe me. I believed her. The science believes her. Because the biology of what pomegranate seed oil does inside aging skin is not magic. It is molecular. It is measurable. It is reproducible. And it is available to every woman watching this video tonight for the price of a small bottle of cold-pressed oil. Practical note on preparation. Use cold-pressed, unrefined pomegranate seed oil. It will be a deep ruby red color and have a mild, slightly astringent scent. Do not use pomegranate oil that has been refined or deodorized, as this process destroys the punicic acid content that produces the results I have described. Blend in a ratio of 1 part castor oil to 1 part pomegranate seed oil. Store in a dark glass bottle in a cool location. Punicic acid is sensitive to both light and heat. Apply 4 to 5 drops nightly, warmed between your palms. Begin watching for measurable changes in skin texture at 8 weeks, with peak results at 16 weeks of consistent daily use. For the most powerful synergy,